What's up, Starcraft fans? This video is brought to you by ShadowArchon, who is supporting the Pulse Cannon tier. Pulse Cannon tier supporters or higher are guaranteed 1 video request per month as long as it is Starcraft 2 co-op related. He requested that I do the next Nexus Coop commander, which will be Tassadar. So, yeah, let's hop into it. Again, guys, to play a Nexus Coop game, you can do the arcade, custom game, arcade, and then in the search bar type Nexus Coop, and then click that first one with orange icon that comes up. You can play alone or you can play with an ally. Either works fine. And yeah, it's a long startup, but yeah, you'll eventually get there. Okay, so once again we are back at the Nexus Coop screen. You can read here the story of Tassadar, roughly translated, I believe, from Chinese. And yeah, you can pause and read if you want, but the pertinent information. The Grand Leader of the Protoss Council, yeah, he was not that. He was one of the executors of the Templar caste, and yeah, Grand Leader, yeah, that was not a thing. For this set of masteries, I will choose to go for Mothership Core initial cooldown and build time, since I like having the Mothership Core out really fast. You'll see why later on. I will go for additional starting resources so I can really tech up fast. And of course, I will go for Mothership Core and Shield of Valor energy consumption. It's a reduction actually, so that the Mothership can use its abilities more frequently. So I'll go on 2 maps this time. The first map will be Part and Parcel, where I have to collect parts to reactivate the Belias. So General Davis can open the hybrid and then die to it, and we'll have to kill the hybrid for her. Let's go there right away. Here we are, loading into the game. Nexus Coop, Part and Parcel. So yeah, there's a graphical glitch on the icon right there. That is not my icon. I do not have half of the adjutant's head as my icon. Yeah, I have to collect the Belias parts and destroy the Mobius hybrid for the Belias. So Tassadar starts out with this Nexus thing over here, and he has this Conclave here with a statue of a Protoss dude. Probably, it looks like Karax actually. Anyway, this Conclave structure is where you research each of these abilities from. Each of these abilities will grant you a special upgrade. It's kind of like a prestige. Each one of these acts like a prestige. It gives you a buff for a certain part of your force and a nerf for another part of your force. For example, the first one, that is, each one of these is named after a tribe. I believe this one is named after the Ara tribe, which is weird because the Ara tribe is I believe, the Judicator caste. And it was shown here as for the Templar caste, where they have buffs to the Zealot and the Dragoon, but it nerfs the Narazim units. Speaking of Narazim, this is the Narazim logo, which means if we research this, we'll get upgrades for the Dark Templar and the Corsair, and we will get nerfs to all the Kala units. I believe this one will be I forgot which tribe this was. Velari tribe because they're yellow. I believe this one will buff. Speaking of most of these upgrades are named after tribes from Starcraft 1. In fact, Tassadar is a Starcraft 1 commander, basically. His units are all modeled from Starcraft 1, and he will be able to use those units. And yeah, his upgrade kit are Starcraft 1 based. So yeah, Ara tribe, again, it's Judicator caste, but it buffs your Templar caste. This one, it's supposed to be blue. Sargas tribe is blue. They will buff your Narazim caste, or your Narazim units, but will nerf your Kala units. This one, I believe, is the Velari tribe, which will buff your Robo units. I will not go for those in this playthrough. I will just go for two styles, which I believe Artos to be familiar with. He plays against Starcraft 1 Protoss, so he will go up against Gateway Man, and he will go up against Carriers, and I will use both of those today. So yeah, Velari tribe will buff your Reavers and Immortals. Immortals, by the way, are not a Starcraft 1 unit, so I don't know why our Tassadar has them. Next, I believe, is the Auriga tribe. Auriga tribe, this one's supposed to be orange. The Auriga tribe is, even in the lore, I believe the Auriga tribe are the spacefarers of the Protoss. They have capital ships, so getting this Auriga tribe buff will buff your fleet, but will nerf your ground forces. You might want to read how. Like, the thing with Nexus Coop is you can't just hop in and expect to get what to do. It's quite involved in the beginning, in the sense that you have to read. There's a lot of reading. When I first played this commander, I hopped into a game on my own, no ally. This is solo. I'll pause the game and I'll read each one of these descriptions. It'll help a lot in understanding what each thing does. Anyway, yeah, this S upgrade will upgrade your Auriga tribe, which will upgrade your air units and nerf your ground forces. Next is the Aquila tribe. It is correctly colored. They are teal. They will buff your Archons and your High Templar, and will nerf your Robo-based units. And finally, I believe the Shalak tribe. I forgot which tribe. The Shalak tribe is supposed to be the white one, and will upgrade your the Furinax. Now I remember. The R is a Furinax tribe. Yeah, it is the Kailai cast. There we go. Anyway, the last one is just a general upgrade buff. Like, it will make your upgrades cheaper and it will allow you to reach level 5 upgrades for attack and armor, but it will reduce your maximum supply to 150. So with that, let us proceed. By the way, there are two other buttons here. Once I research the Q, I will get access to this first top bar, and once I research the E, I'll get access to the second top bar. Of course, the first one is Templar based. Sorry, General Davis. The first one is Templar based. I will get Zealots and Dragoons after researching Q, and then after research E, I'll get Dark Templar and Corsairs.
I found a mech here.
I start with, you can see, a lot of resources. So I start a pylon right away. It's just a regular pylon, and I start a refinery or a simulator. And in StarCraft 1, there was no kernel boost, which is why I don't have kernel boost in this commander either. I start a gateway. It's pretty much the same, but the difference here is the tech tree is kind of ignored. I can go straight to Stargate if I so wanted to. Foreshadowing for later, I can also go straight to Robo if I so desire. But I don't. I'm just gonna go for the classic gateway setup. So yeah, I can actually start research now, but I'm actually waiting for the mothership core. So at 1 minute and 30 seconds, I will have access to auto-build the mothership core. I believe it comes out for free, and it will start producing as soon as your Nexus becomes idle. So at 1:30. And there we go. So at 1:30, it becomes available, and as soon as this probe completes, the mothership core will start automatically for free. I also start a cybernetics core because I'm actually not sure why. Oh yeah, I know why. I'm gonna get upgrades for my Corsairs. So you can see once the mothership has arrived, it basically has the ability to summon cannons with overcharge on the field. You can see, yeah, this cannon with overcharge, phase photon cannon. It has 150 shield, but it has overcharge. It can actually shoot these boxes and deal several tons of damage. And the thing is, with the mastery, the mothership core recovers energy quickly, so it can do tremendous work on its own. So watch how this works. Yeah, so I just drop a cannon there, I drop another one. You can see it recover energy really quickly. This thing is, it's basically a spellcaster. It's like a raven, a Protoss raven, where you also have the ability to shoot. Yeah, a raven that shoots, and it comes out for free. You can see, yeah, two of these cannons spawn and just recover energy right away. By the way, in StarCraft 1, you don't have the Twilight Council. You have the Citadel of Adun, but instead it's named here as the Adun Council. It will get you upgrades for your Zealots and your Dragoons. All right, put out more cannons here. Yeah, you can see it recovers very quickly. And I'm just able to just throw out more cannons right here with overcharge. And with that, the expansion is free. I'm able to freely take this as soon as my probe reaches the spot. But yeah, I just throw down more cannons. It is quite brittle for a hero unit. It has 250 shield and 250 health. So you don't want to just face tank everything with it. I start the Nexus to really kickstart my economy. For this game, I will focus on gateway units, because I'm going to be gateway man. I'll produce lots of Dragoons and actually Dark Templar also, because reasons. But yeah, gateway man, there's concept. You can see an attack wave is arriving. There's some bug in my game. Maybe I picked the wrong commander or something as my ally, but there's an attack wave and it was not announced. Either way, I saw it on the mini-maps. I'm gonna have to respond quickly. Oh, by the way, I did use already the Q upgrade, so I now have access to this thing. This summoned the pylon, which summoned 2 Zealots and 2 Dragoons. So I'm ready to intercept. This attack wave over here. Mothership is on the way. And fights over here, and another one of the Mothership Core's abilities is to cast Time Warp. You know this Time Warp from the mutations. It slows down enemy force in a big area and will allow my forces to get an upper hand. That's pretty good. So you can see here, I have 4 upgrades on the Adun Council. 2 of them, the first 2 are for Zealots. This one's for damage, this one's for health. And this one, the T, I believe, allows the Dragon to shoot 3 targets at once or something. And it's just the first 2 are Zealot buffs, the last 2 are Dragoon buffs. You want to get them. I push out here, I phase in cannon, and swiftly recover the energy, and it's back to full. Back to full energy right away for the Mothership Core. It's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat setup. Attack right here. A bit of I kind of wasn't paying attention. Now I am. Go to a time out a little bit late, but still pretty good. Alright, so now they're slowed down. I march into here. I called out in the next set. You can see, yeah. I still have not researched the Raisin buff, so I'm still gonna call down once more this pylon. If you're familiar with the Legacy of the Void campaign, this was basically the Warp and Reinforcements top bar, which calls down 4 units with a pylon. So it's pretty neat. I whack these buildings here to get parts. Again, the main objective of this map, the main objective of this mission is to break these boxes to get parts. And once I have enough parts, this thing in the middle will activate and break open the box. It's a multi-layered mission, and I hope you guys can follow if you're new to Starcraft 2. So yeah, I gather these parts which will extend my time, and yeah, count toward here. You can see we're at 53 out of 70. For every box we collect, this counter goes up to 70, or it goes up until we reach 70. Yeah, 55, 56, 57. Yeah, gathering more of those parts. You can see it's going up as I push through this whole base. I let this Zealot run around. I sent my army to attack, but I split off this Zealot, shift clicked it to collect all these. So now you can see I have we have all 70 parts. And I drop another pylon here. This time the Dark Pylon, which means yeah, I have finished the Raisin upgrade. So now you can see I have Dark Templar and Corsairs. So next I move up here. I use the Time Warp from the Mothership Core to give my forces an advantage. Continue pushing.
I've never seen anything like Mobius Core.
Onward. Yeah. Okay, I'm building infrastructure. Yeah, I built 3 gateways. So now that my economy is up and running, I start my infrastructure so that later on I will have a lot of production. So if you're new to StarCraft, StarCraft is a game of production. It's actually a game of resource management. So the way you manage your resources, you build lots of production, so you'll have a lot of army production, or you'll have a large army. You'll have the means to produce a large army later on. So another ability of the Mothership Core is to recall. So once it's here in the spot where my force will actually fight, I will recall my army. You can actually recall on the map itself or via the mini-map. The mini-map works as well. So I recall all these dudes, and they'll be ready to fight. this army. Actually, I think that healed the mothership core, which is pretty neat. That's pretty neat. Recalling apparently heals the mothership or something, or the mothership core. So I called out another pylon. You can see the pylons are pretty useful. Their cooldown is pretty fast. And I can see I warped another dark pylon over here, which will warping more forces. Yeah, and I'm getting lots and lots of free units right now. There's lots and lots of free units. And that just destroyed that train pretty quickly. Next up, we move over here to fight. Yeah, I believe my infrastructure. As a rule of thumb, guys, the more infrastructure you have, the more units you'll be able to produce at the same time, simultaneously. And the more units you are able to produce at the same time, the faster you'll be able to have that big army you can use to wipe the face of Amon from whatever planet you're on. Some upgrades here. Warping some more dude. You can see I'm just queuing up all these dudes here. I have a control group with just these dudes. I have a control group with just these production structures, which I just queue up more and more forces. It's pretty good. Okay, I called on 2 more pylons to help fight. I just attack with my entire army. You can see it's a pretty big. It gets big pretty fast. Send the rest of my dudes in. There we go. You can see I'm just queuing up. I have eight gateways now, and that means a lot of production. Lots of production, in fact. As I move in, use the time warp on the hybrid. I'm just being active with using my mothership. It's a lot. It's a lot to manage, but as long as you're using stuff, you just spam as much stuff as you can. You'll have more units to fight Amon with. You'll have more toys to fight Amon with. You can see, I briefly remembered that I also have this spell on my Corsairs. These Corsairs are units. By the way, yeah. Now that we have armies here, let's do a brief background on what these are. These guys with the green blades. Yeah, these yellow armored guys with green blades are the Zealots. They're the basic units. They're melee units. They can only swipe their blades at the enemies at melee range. These spider dudes, these 4-legged spider dudes, are the Dragoons. They are ranged units. They can shoot both ground and up, and they are single target, so they can only hit one target at a time. This is the Dark Templar. This blue dude right here, blue with green. So it's an invisible unit. It deals a lot of damage, but attacks slowly. And yeah, its main, in 1v1 at least, its main power is that it's invisible. But in Nexus Coop, there are a lot of upgrades. In co-op in general, there are a lot of upgrades for your Dark Templar. So yeah, they're pretty good co-op. And finally, these flying units are Corsairs. They can only hit against air units. They cannot shoot down. And they have an ability called Disruption Web, which will cast a sort of lightning thing on the ground. And any enemy unit underneath this, the Disruption Web cannot attack.
Go gather some more parts for it.
So I push up.
Yeah,
I push up this ground over here. There are more again. So we have to once again collect more parts. We are 37 out of 70. We need to collect more of these boxes. Yeah, we're 39. Just continue to gather. Yeah, continue to gather these. So we need to push throughout the map to get more of these boxes to be able to collect parts. Of course, the enemy is guarding these spots, so we want to push through them. And yeah, the reason why Starcraft is pretty hard is because at the same time you still need to produce. Right now, I'm not producing because I'm kind of maxed out. I have as many units as I need. But the beauty of having 8 of these production structures is that anytime I experience a drop in my army, I'll be able to produce like right away. You see this massive army just crawling forward, attacking here. Slow down these void races using a time warp. And this big bubble will slow down enemy forces. This Dark Templar collecting these parts. Yeah, so General Dave is happy once again. This lady, General Dave, is happy once again that we are collecting parts for her. And yeah, this lighting thing, as I mentioned earlier, is the Disruption Web. It will prevent the enemies from attacking underneath them. Yeah, more Disruption Web. This thing is a force field. It's just a path blocker. You can't move through there. army marching forward. So there's an attack wave heading over here, which means my army has to pull back and meet that thing head on. I'm just walking through here. Just kind of F2, or rather, all army hotkeying. Which is not good, but it's fine. Could be worse.
Ready for
Alright.
action. I'm approaching the hybrid's containment cell.
Back over here. Throw down the time warp. Enemies throwing down psionic storms, which will deal a lot of damage in the big area. That's fine, I'll be able to handle that.
Launch an assault on the train.
Alright, these courses are pretty fast. Okay, Mothership Core still here. By the way, for those of you who do play Nexus Coop and wondering why I have not yet made the actual Mothership, I will get to that later. By the way guys, this is like my fourth game playing Nexus Coop. I'm just trying to familiarize myself with the commander, so if you have advice below for how to play this commander better, do let me know. I do welcome advice for how to get better at Nexus Coop, because it's pretty fun once I get past the reading phase. I consider myself still in the reading phase of Nexus Coop. Not that good yet. But it was redeemed. It was redeemed on Patreon, so I will play it. And I know there's that one guy who will tell me that I'm not good at the real co-op anyway. Please comment that down below. I honestly appreciate it. Not even sarcastically. Because, as I've mentioned many times before, any comment helps me. Because it means the YouTube algorithm will be more likely to promote my videos. So yeah, go ahead and comment all you want. And those of you who think I play bad, those of you who think I'm condescending or have otherwise, you know, undesirable traits, please feel free to talk about them. That honestly just helps me.
We've passed the halfway point. The Balius is
I continue pushing over here. Destroy that. Yeah, I have a big dragon. It feels like Artanis with, you know, Artanis with Void Templar, with the Mothership Core. It's like a combination with Artanis, Alarak, and Vorazun, or even Zeratul. Zeratul is Void Templar, not Dark Templar. If these were Vorazun's Dark Templar, they'll be teleporting all around. But this is Zeratul's Void Templar, which means they just blink and swipe. Okay, so I was actually anticipating them to come over here. Instead, they went to my expansion, so my Mothership Core is about to die, so I throw down all these cannons over here, and I lose the Mothership Core. That is actually fine, because the Mothership Core rebuilds pretty fast, and it comes out with full energy. So in a way, it's in a weird way better to lose your Mothership Core after you expend your energy and have it rebuilt instantly instead of regaining all that energy conventionally. It's weird in a way because, yeah, once you use up all your cannons, you'll be out of energy. It takes some time to recover energy. So why not instead suicide your Mothership Core, get it back even quicker, and it'll have full energy for you to once again spam all those cannons. Of course, there's a travel distance thing. Yeah, I'm sure developers have thought of that, but yeah, in a weird way, you can have dying help you. Throw another time warp. Push over here with my Dark Templar. Push back in. I just baited those Phoenixes out. That's what I did. I just baited those Phoenixes out. Called on 2 cannons over here. Help supplement my forces. Yeah, I'm just steamrolling through this whole map. Pretty good. This commander is pretty strong. Yeah, attack wave on the way. So, you remember that thing I told you earlier about Disruption Web? So once I drop Disruption Web on here, I drop Time Warp, slow them down, and then I drop Disruption Web. You can see these giant colossus cannot attack because they're in the Disruption Web. They cannot use their weapons, so they're kind of just stuck here, try to move, but they can't because they're surrounded, and then they just get destroyed quickly. That was a pretty satisfying fight, not gonna lie.
Evaluating pre-launch diagnostics. This will only take a bit.
Wait, did I still not have? Oh, I'm only now getting it. That's weird. I thought I had it already. It turns out I was just not maxed out. That's weird. Throw down more cannons, and then yeah, the the mothership core dies, but it revives for free in the main base. We'll have it once again with full energy. So again, not that big, not that bad. Could be worse. Collect these boxes because why not? Move north. Waiting for the mothership core to arrive. Honestly, I might just try to bait them down the ramp. I might bait them to come to me. Because, generally, the guy who can use more dudes in a fight wins. If you can use more dudes, you have more dudes shooting, you will deal more damage. So the way to force that type of setup is to have them come to you when you're in an arc of dudes, so that all your dudes in the arc can shoot. Or conclave, as we like to call it in Starcraft. Throw down these photon cannons with overcharge to supplement my push. Really punch through those defenses. Throw down another time warp to slow down the enemy. As my Dragoons push in. That's a pretty long range. That's a pretty long range of those Dragoons. Continue the push. Smash this hybrid. Got some Immortals here, they hit hard. The Immortals do hard counter my Dragoons because they hit hard. And have bonus damage against armored, which my Dragoons are, but strength in numbers. I have more Dragoons, so it almost doesn't matter than fighting Immortals. Because I have more. I have so many. Look at how fast that hybrid goes down. And eliminating these last few buildings will give me a chance to have a very clean map before this hybrid comes out and ruins the very clean map. If you're wondering why I cannot summon more of those pylons with free forces, that's because I'm maxed out. Those forces cost supply, and I cannot call more of them when I'm already maxed out, which I am. And goes up pretty quickly. So yeah, pretty nice. So that was the first game where I went Gateway Man. We destroyed the hybrid, the planet saved, and we were able to move on to the second mission. Let's hop right in. Mission 2, we have Malwarfare. This is the one where we have to escort Oran's transport, this robot, this flying, hovering robot thing over here. It's honestly just a giant probe. We have to escort that giant probe on 5 spots on the map. The good news is the first spot is where it starts, so it's gonna get that stop for free. Yeah, here it is. It's it starts here for free. It's gonna do that, and it's gonna move to the second one. So similar to the opening on the first game, I open up with a pylon, and I'm gonna wait on these. I'm gonna start this simulator, and then wait for stuff to happen. Once the pylon completes, instead of going for the gateway, I instead wait for the Stargate this time. As I mentioned earlier, Tassadar has the ability to bypass the entire tech tree and just go straight for the Stargate. Well, not the entire tech tree, most of the tech tree. I start right away at 1 minute. I start this upgrade, which will allow me to get cheaper upgrades and allow me to get to +5 upgrades. It's pretty good. Continuous worker production, but again, at 1 minute 30, I'll want to start the mothership core. So yeah, once that completes, I'll let the mothership core start, and then queue up the next probe. Start another pylon here so it doesn't get play blocked. Of course, play block, for those of you who are new, is bad, because it means you're wasting time not building anything. Yeah, you want to have these bars continue to progress constantly. You do not want them supply blocked. There we go. Those cannons pretty strong. And with that, I'm able to get my expansion right away. Put down more cannons here, and that will overpower those defenders, and that will allow me to start the Nexus. Pretty good. I set up my my rally points so that I'm able to have workers just go to where they need to go without me telling them to. Because I already right click. You can see already rallied. Even this was already rallied. So what that means is that as soon as the probe comes out, it'll go straight to mining. Okay, mothership core just chilling out here, waiting on the next move. Okay, we want to put workers in those gases. Drop down more cannons here. Cannons are really good. Cannons are really good. So I now start the fleet bacon. Fleet bacon. The fleet bacon will allow me to build carriers out of the Stargate. So yeah, to get carriers, you need the fleet bacon, or the starport where they're actually built from, and you need the fleet bacon, which will unlock the technology to build the carriers. You can see I intercept these derps at this camp here. So while fighting this wave, I can also go on offense. It's a pretty good deal. Okay, you can see the mothership core, or the mothership is now starting. The mothership core, even in the previous game, had the ability to upgrade itself into a mothership. The reason why I didn't do it last game is because I didn't want to lose access to my photon cannons. These phase cannons are really good, especially in maps like Parcel, where the defenses aren't thick until you get to the last base. So you can just kind of push with the mothership core and its cannons. And it'll be generally really good. Okay, I'm still producing workers. You want to saturate. You want to saturate your base. You want to make sure your workers are your production structures are constantly producing, and you want to make sure that you're making more and more workers until you have a full set of workers. Producing a carrier now. So now that I have the fleet bacon, I can produce a carrier. Okay, the mothership still does have the time warp, so I can still slow these down before they do any damage to the mothership core. It shot once. It got shot once. It's pretty good. Okay, I also got the Auriga tribe upgrade, which means my carriers will have another set of upgrades at the fleet bacon. I use the mothership to attack this spot, drop down that time warp, and destroy all these dudes like they aren't even a thing. And yeah, the unfortunate thing is that the mothership no longer has access to photon cannons, but it does have recall, and it does have teleport, and it's really good. Destroy these dudes. Yeah, and you can see I'm once again producing workers. You just want to keep producing workers until you're pretty much full. The reason why I didn't go for full saturation here is because you only really need 2 workers per patch. So if you count, there are 6 patches here, 6, and to have the most efficient saturation, you only need 2 workers per patch. So that's 6 by 2. You want 12 workers here. But for full saturation, you want to go to full 18. The only difference really for mining is that once you have 2 workers over here, once the 3rd worker arrives, it'll just kind of go around the patches looking for the 3rd. Which is why, yeah, with only 2 workers per patch, once the previous one completes harvesting, the first one will be able to resume harvesting. Still producing carriers, now 2 at a time. Same thing from earlier. Yeah, the more production structures you have, the faster you'll be able to produce said army. I'm also getting upgrades here. You can see it's on the way. So I'm kind of holding off on the transport. By the way, this is the 2nd terminal, and this suppression tower over here. This suppression tower attacks the transport from a long distance, and while it's being attacked, it cannot continue purifying the terminal. So we want to destroy this tower if we want this transport to finish purifying the terminal. I can have more time to kind of move forward. Ooh, that's a lucky spawn. I can destroy them without having to go back. That's pretty good. All right, push forward again. Still 2 carriers at a time production. About to be a 3rd Stargate to allow me to produce 3 at a time, which is pretty good. Alright, so I start, you can see, once I got the Auriga Tribe upgrade, the carrier will have this Planet Cracker upgrade, or Planet Cracker ability, which would just walk through and annihilate this whole base right here. It's basically a nuke, except it can move. It's like a purifier. It's like a cross between a purifier beam and a nuke. Really good. 3 carriers at a time producing, and starting a 3rd level upgrade for my attacks.
I am about to head to the 3rd terminal.
I'll push over here. Continue attacking these dudes. I don't even need to use my abilities. By the way, the shield of fire is a detector, so I don't need to produce the the observers. Yeah, just making more and more carriers. You just want to see 3 of these the whole time. You just want to see 3 the whole time until you're maxed out. Okay, so I want to teleport the mothership here to fight this wave. And while it's doing that, I'll recall this carrier. Recall. There we go. And then I start that. So now I whack these dudes producing right here. I recall 3 more carriers, including this weird carrier thing. It looks different. Gantry Thor. So the Gantry Thor becomes infested, and apparently the way this commander works is the first carrier gets the Gantry Thor upgrade for free. So once again, you can see the mothership had to teleport over here to fight this wave, while the carriers are over here. Now that they have completed guarding the bonus though, they can be recalled. Yeah, it's pretty good. Mobility for Tassadar is pretty good to a certain degree. You can run out of teleport charges, which is probably fair. Okay, there's an attack wave heading over here. I will send my army toward it. Meet them head on. And the tower spawn here. As you can see, I'm starting to float a lot of minerals here because the carriers are a rather gas heavy unit. It's quite expensive gas wise. So it would actually be better to spend the minerals for something else, for example, cannons. So yeah, I'm starting pylons over here. They will be able to support those cannons later on. The pylons are necessary because they have power fields, which are the only place where I can build pylon, or I can build Protoss structures aside from the Nexus and the pylon. So the mothership here. I fight this little wave over here. Actually, the entire fleet came over here. That's crazy. Okay, so I teleport the mothership over here. I let the carriers go back and fight. Yeah, I'll let them go back and fight. Meanwhile, the mothership is destroying this whole base. Alright. Destroy that Phoenix. And now... there we go. Recalled. And they're back in front. How many carriers are these? I have 12 carriers. That is already pretty solid. That is pretty difficult to beat already. 12 carriers, pretty good. Now we're smashing space. And now, yeah, with carriers, it becomes really easy. So, one thing I noticed about the Planet Cracker is that you don't actually need vision to use it. So, I use the Planet Cracker here once again, and you can see there was no vision here earlier. I just right-click here, and it just appeared there. So, another nice thing about the Planet Cracker is that you don't need vision to use it. I'm just destroying this whole base like it was nothing. Look at it. Look at it. My goodness. It's just smashing this whole base. And all good things must come to an end. But even when it does come to an end, I just teleport out of the way. And I can resume pushing with the rest of the carriers. Which is pretty good. Yeah, these carriers are just handling business. Gantry Thor already has 113 kills. That's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. Shield of Fire only has 9? No way! It has to be a new unit. There's no way it's the same mothership from earlier. I have way more kills than 9. There's no way it's 9.
Oh, just peachy. Got a wave of enemies.
Yeah, that wave is spawn camp. Cannons are pretty decent. They will not kill everything, but they will kill a lot of things. Okay, teleport the mothership here to help clean up.
Analyzing corrupted security data.
Meanwhile, carriers are smashing this hole. I do like the aesthetic of the original Starcraft 1 carrier. Even though it looks kind of like a shoe. It kind of looks like a sneaker.
Forces have been deployed.
But I like it anyway.
I recommend taking out that suppression tower quickly.
We are at the 4th terminal now, by the way. Continuing. Teleport the mothership over here, where I can intercept all these waves. Oh, another ability of the mothership is the black hole. I trapped all these guys in the black hole, and I shot them down while they were clumped up. Okay, so the first suppression tower was there. We destroyed it. Now the transport can continue purifying, and also that means the next one will be over here. Clear out. I just send my carriers here. Do their work. It's a swarm. It's a straight up swarm. I'm out swarming the swarm right now.
Yes, I am doing my best.
Okay, that's pretty crazy.
Detecting another suppression tower.
I have no idea why that happened. They'll just kind of blow up at the same time. It could be because the black hole and time warp combo does that. Not sure. All right.
Ask for more of it.
So now that the tower is destroyed, the transport can once again rebuild. Put down a pylon over here. Attack wave coming. I used time stop. I used black hole. I was trying to replicate it. Fortunately, I could not. Oh wait, oh, I did. I was able to replicate it. Did it all explode? Wow, that's crazy. I did replicate it.
Systems work.
Carriers out here on the offense. Carriers wiping this whole wave over here. Mothership kind of waiting on the next attack wave. Because I know Amon, he likes to be sneaky. When I go off to attack the north, there will be an attack wave just heading toward the transport. Okay, so I'll leave my fleet here as an insurance policy. And then I send my mothership here for all these dudes. Yeah, it does all that. It does damage. My goodness. That's pretty good. Okay. Yeah! That's tremendous damage. Oh, I have another charge of the purifier beam. Or the plant cracker. Unfortunately, the whole map is cleared. So I just use it in the suppression tower. It's so crazy. This commander is so good. I cleared the map before even finishing. So I have nothing to use the plant cracker on. And take note, it's my 5th game or something as Tassadar, so I haven't really practiced a lot. That tells you how busted this commander is. Although to photo loss is I know what photo loss would say, like how is this Tassadar related? He never did have a mothership. In fact, motherships only started becoming a thing in Starcraft 2. Yeah, I don't know either, man. It's just it's just the fun aspect of it. But you're absolutely right in your unmentioned thoughts that this is indeed not that heavily. I guess the Gantry Thor is related to Starcraft 1. But yeah, he has immortals. Yeah, and the non-chrono boost makes sense. The Council, honestly, it's a pretty good gameplay addition to give him some flavor aside from his usual Starcraft 1 stuff that we're doing like this. By the way, I fast forward a little bit because there's nothing happening. Yeah, I started the bonus. Smash all these air dudes. So many carriers. Look at it. I'm out swarming the swarm right now. That's crazy. Alright. Let's start with another upgrade. Just need to give vision of something here. Oh, by the way, I've also made like a dozen or so photon cannons over here. Yeah, photon cannons will help shoot down enemies. I know for a fact that A tower always spawns here. 100%, it always spawns in here. Add on here, which is why these are the two spots where I chose to go static defense. I'm not getting lucky, I just know that they're there. Okay, support my ship here, recall my entire fleet. That's a pretty good system. That's a pretty good system. Destroy these suppression towers. Okay, I cycle back to the transport to make sure no harm comes to it. And on cue, take on the wave of the enemy. And black hole, that whole thing should die. Alright. Teleport my ship here, and then teleport the entire fleet. Delete this wave, make this not a thing, and make this. Look at how fast it goes down. The suppression tower went up pretty fast. Okay, now I fly over, intercept this attack wave. So many interceptors, that's crazy. You can see, yeah, both of these suppression towers are already camped. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Only 25% of the corruption remains.
More stuff here. Okay, I can see that there's the attack waves materializing over here, which is why I kind of scurry over. Actually, there's no need. I could just use the plant cracker, because why not? Just eliminate it, because why not? Because that is UG, that is the last objective, and that is this map. Pretty strong. Yeah, Tasadar pretty strong. I think there was a plant cracker in Starcraft 1 in the prologue. Like in the very first sea, if you guys remember, those two guys working in like a little space station, and they got destroyed by a purifier beam. Yeah, that was part of the plant cracker. It's kind of a distant relation, but yeah, I can forgive that. Just because it's kind of so strong. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have any idea for also, please leave that in a comment. Again, I went for two styles this game. I went for Gateway Man and I went for Carriers. There are more play styles to be explored. You can do Massive Void Rays, you can do a more diverse set of Sky Toss, you can throw in High Templar. It's all there for you to play if you want. Again, Nexus Coop on the arcade. See you guys next time.